Welcome to another episode of the Artist Marketing Formula podcast. My name is David Emmons. I'm an artist and an online marketing expert. I'm a coach and a teacher, which basically means I teach artists, craftsmen, specialty small business owners how to succeed selling their work online. Okay, how to have a sustainable, successful online business. Take back your freedom. This is where you know that you can count on online sales. That's what this podcast is all about. I break myths. I get rid of the lies that are out there. And most of all, I'm not afraid to tell you things that most people don't have the guts to tell you. So this podcast is going to show you how to have online success. We're going to roll the intro and we're going to get right into it. Having a sustainable, successful online business has never been easier than it is now once you realize how to harness the power of the free tools that are on the internet. They're available for you to use. You learn how to use those and success is imminent. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do that. This week, what I'm doing on the podcast is I'm answering questions that came in on my channel this week. All right, so I'm going to get to some of those questions. I'm going to answer those live so that you can have the advantage of, hopefully, what I did is I picked questions that I think a lot of people are thinking about. I know a lot of the same questions came in, so I want to tackle things that I know are probably something that have been on your mind. All right, so let me, I'm going to open up my iPad here. I'm going to just read the questions that came in. The first question is from Shannon. All right, Shannon is a painter from Santa Fe, New Mexico. Shannon wants to know, what kind of a website do you need to have to succeed online? Also, do you need to be on one of these expensive online platforms in order to sell your work? All right, Shannon, first of all, you don't need a website to succeed online. All right, now, a website is wonderful to have. A website is a beautiful thing to have. However, it's important for you to understand that just having a website does not equal online success. Now, I'm sure most of you realize that, but most of you think that you have to have a website, and that's not necessarily true. Okay, you can actually sell your work from a Facebook page, from an Instagram account. You can put your work out there, and I teach how to do this, but you can put your work out there in such a way that you can have people actually call you on the phone. It all depends on what kind of work you have and how you have your business structured. But if you're doing commission work, and Shannon didn't tell me other than she's a painter, I don't know exactly what she's doing. But if you're doing commission work, I've lined up lots of commission work. I have a lot of students that line up commission work just by instant messages and phone calls. Okay, so you don't need a website. Now, to the second part of your question, do you need to be on these expensive platforms in order to sell your work online? And this is a vital question. The answer to the question is no. And in fact, these expensive platforms on the internet are kind of fooling a lot of artists into thinking that you get on this platform and that's going to equal online success. And that could not be further from the truth. Okay, this is so important. It's so important for you to understand this. Being on any kind of platform on the internet, I don't care if it's an expensive art platform or if it's Etsy, there are downfalls to all of these platforms, and there are also some upsides, but you have to understand them in order to make any sense of it. All right, so let me just give you a glimpse into a little bit of what you have to watch out for on these online platforms, especially the expensive online platforms. All right, here's the deal. These online platforms are just that. They're just a platform. They're a place to upload your work and have your work available for people to make a purchase. Okay, so you have to think about what has to happen for someone to make a purchase. First of all, they have to find you. Okay, how are they going to find you? See, selling your work online is not about just having a website. It's not about just being on an online platform. Selling your work online sustainably and successfully is all about being able to find your exact customers. All right, so let's just think about this for a second. I know I'm going to get off on a couple of tangents. I will keep this right in the same vein, okay, about having a website, selling your work on someone else's platform, and finding your customers, right? That's what we're going to explore right now. So think about this. Finding your exact customers. That's what you've done for years. You've tried to do that. You've been to art festivals. You've been to galleries, maybe gallery openings. You're always in the quest for putting your work in front of your exact customers. Where do you find them? You don't just do any art show, and you certainly don't just go and try and put your work in any gallery. You're very specific and you're very particular about where you're going to go to show your work. And the reason for that is you're trying to get in front of the right people. Well, when you market on the internet the right way, you can actually target your exact customers. You can layer your targeting in such a way that everyone has to qualify for this and this and this and this in order to be in your audience that you're going to send your work in front of. Okay, so it's amazing when you start using the targeting tools that are available on the internet, and that's what I teach my students how to do. We're going to get into that a little bit on this call today, on this podcast. But more importantly, you have to recognize this truth about the internet. You need to understand that it's not about being on a website or about being on a platform. It's about finding your exact customers. Okay, so think about this. You've done shows, you've been in galleries, and when you are at these events, you recognize that not everyone is a customer of yours. Okay, so a certain amount of people come through the show, a certain amount of people come through the gallery, X amount of people stop and they're interested in what you have, and then a certain percentage of those people will purchase what you have. Okay, so that's a very small fraction of the overall audience that you were exposed to. On the internet, when you market the right way on the internet, you can actually market to only those people who are interested in your work. Okay, now you could say only those people who should be interested in your work, but if you're really good with your targeting, like I teach, you can be in front of people who absolutely, are interested in your work. And I have strategies that I've developed that prove this out. You're going to absolutely be fascinated by it. I'm going to show you some of that today. The other thing to remember is there's two ways to market on the internet. Okay, one way to market on the internet is all about search results. And if you think about this for a second, this is what most people have been doing for years. Okay, so they try to maximize the keywords on their website. They try and get the SEO right on their website. They try and rank high in Google search results so that people searching on the internet can find their work. Okay, there's a huge problem with this. Searching on the internet is not a game you even want to play with. There's, like I said, two ways to market on the internet. One is to win search results, and the other is to get in front of your people before they're even searching. But let's go back to search results for a second. When people are searching on the internet, they're in a comparison mindset. Okay, so they're thinking about price, they're thinking about quality, they're thinking about, are there other things out here? Something similar. So they're just searching. So let's say you get to a point where you can rank #1 on Google, but you're on somebody's platform. You're on art storefronts, or you're on Fine Art America, or any of the other platforms, Etsy. There's a bunch of them out there. You can be on any of these platforms, but think about this for a second. Let's say I search, okay? I land on this platform because I'm searching for artists similar to Van Gogh. I'm searching for artists who do commission work for pet portraits, let's say. Okay, so in the search results, let's say you show up in the search results, and I click on your name and I go to a site that's on one of these platforms. What am I going to find there? I'm going to find your work, okay, but I'm also going to find other people's work. Okay, people similar to you are going to show up either on the platform or certainly in the search results. And as I start digging around the platform, I can certainly find other artists. That's what these platforms are all about. They're a platform filled with artists. Now, let me ask you a question. If you were going to book yourself in an art festival, and the art festival promoter told you that at this next festival, there's going to be 500 artists, and all of those artists are going to be painters, what would you think about that? Would that be a show you would be excited to book? Well, I think the answer is no. We all know that when we go to these shows, one of the things we look for in our category is how many other people are in this category at this event, because that's your competition, right? And you don't want to be in a place where you have massive amounts of competition, especially if you don't have to. Okay, so I want you to keep that in your mind as I walk you through the different ways of marketing online and the answer to Shannon's question of, do you need to be on one of these expensive platforms? And I would phrase the question like this: do you even want to be on one of these expensive platforms? Okay, so someone's Googling, they're searching Van Gogh. Okay, they're searching artist that does pet portraits. They land on the site, they click on your name. They're looking at your work, but now they see similar work. And now they click on similar work. Now they're comparing prices, they're comparing styles. They click on similar work again and again. And they're going down these bunny trails on these websites that take them in a lot of places and not necessarily ending up on your site, looking at your work and contacting you for your work. So the problem with having a presence on a platform like this, like these that I described, okay, is you're diluting the folks that are coming to you, all right? If you're driving traffic to your presence on a website like this, and I'll get to driving traffic in a minute, but if you're doing some marketing efforts to drive people to your website and you're on a platform like this, you're also, it's like sending them to an event that you're at and they get to see everyone else at the event. What if you did a solo gallery opening? Think about that. You're driving all the traffic to a solo gallery opening. That's where everyone is focused on your work. That's what you want. And so the question for me, you can say, hey, David, can I do that online? How do I market online where I'm driving all traffic to myself? Well, number one, you have your own website. Okay, now to answer Shannon's question, do I need a website? Still, the answer is no, you don't need a website. You can drive all that traffic to your Instagram page, your Facebook page, okay? People can see your work there. They can contact you there. So you do not need a website. But what you have to understand is you've got to be able to find your people. And then the second part of that equation is, where is the smartest place to send those people? And the answer to that question is to a place where you are by yourself. Okay, so it's very important to remember that. Send all the traffic to your place, your homepage, your Instagram, your Facebook page, okay, your online presence. That's vital, okay, absolutely vital. So Shannon, don't need a website, but you need your own presence, okay? You want to be all by yourself online. Now let's talk about the second way to market online. So if I'm not marketing to search queries, what am I marketing to, David? How do I find my people if I'm not trying to answer the search question? Well, the answer is you're harnessing the power of the free tools that are available online for you to target and interest target and layer your interest targeting and get in front of people who have proven through all of the data that's available online, proven that they should be your customers. Okay, and I'm talking about some very serious layering, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. So when you market in this way, you're putting your work, and we can get into this on the next podcast. I want to teach you about what is the right thing to put in front of the right people to bring them into your world. Okay, that's very important, to put the right thing in front of the right people so that they want to click and come through and find you and learn more about you. Okay, so the way that you market to not market to search queries is you go out there with the free tools on the internet. You use these tools primarily on the Facebook and Instagram platforms. You use these tools to get in front of your people, okay? You're in front of your people before they even think about searching or Googling. Okay, so now what happens? You put the right thing in front of the right people, and here's what they do. First of all, they're wowed, like, wow, look at that. I'm very impressed with what I'm looking at. I click. When I click, I come into your world. Okay, that button is going to take me to your website maybe. It's going to take me to your Facebook page, your Instagram account. Okay, it's going to take me deeper into your world. I have no one to compare you to. I'm not comparing price. I'm not comparing artist styles. I'm not comparing at all because I wasn't even thinking about you this morning, but you showed up on my social media and you intrigued me with something. And now I came into your world. And as I'm in your world, now I'm really impressed. I'm impressed with what I see. I'm impressed with what you're showing me. I'm impressed with what you're telling me. And I'm coming deeper into your world. And now I want to talk with you. I want to click around your website. I want to click on contact. I want to call you. I want to email you. I want to send you a message. I am in your world now because you were smart enough to get in front of me because you know I'm interested in the type of work you do. That's how you win online. By doing that, by getting in front of the right people, by not diluting your exposure by being on a platform that has thousands of other artists that are painting and drawing and doing things similar to what you're doing. That dilutes your marketing online. You don't want to do that. You don't want to market to search results. There's no reason to. There's millions of people online that are not searching for what you do, but they're in love with what you do. And they show this by the history of the data that's collected online. We know this about these people. We know where they've been online. We know what they do. We know what they've purchased in the past. We know what they're interested in. There are over 1,000 data points that are used by the algorithms of these platforms to determine who to put your work in front of when you start figuring out how to harness these tools and you start doing the things that I teach my students how to do. Okay, so it's insanely powerful, the AI that runs these platforms. I mean, think about this. Once again, I get off on a little tangent here, but this is exciting and I like sharing it with artists who are interested in having a sustainable, successful online business. It's easy to do when you understand the tools to use and all the other stuff to stay away from, okay? So think about this. The data that's collected on individuals on the internet, now this is internet-wide, over 1,200 data points on every individual. Okay, internet-wide, not just social media platforms. Okay, when you go in and you start using the tools on the social media platforms and you start layering your interest targeting, okay, the interest targeting that you're doing is utilizing web-wide, internet-wide data points. Okay, so if I'm on a website for a restaurant I like, or a movie I watched, or a book I read, or a place I went, all these different data points, you know, pages I like, websites I like, all right, songs I listen to, all those data points are part of the data collection on me when I'm on social media. Okay, social media can access all of that. Right? So it's a little scary when you just think about, oh my God, what does social media know about us? But it's not scary when you think about using it to market and put your work in front of the exact right people. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. So this is absolutely amazing. That's my long-winded answer to Shannon's question about whether or not you need a website. Let me get to the second question, then I'm going to show you some ScreenFlow stuff to just, I want you to see the kind of layered targeting, just a glimpse. I want you to get a glimpse of what's available out there. It's absolutely going to blow your mind. And that's what this podcast is about, right? This podcast is about showing you the tools that you can use to guarantee that you'll have sustainable, successful online sales of your work. Right? I don't care what you create. I don't care what kind of specialty small business you are. It doesn't matter. You can find your exact customers, and that's what this is all about, all right? And that's what this podcast is dedicated to showing you. All right, so next question. This question came in from Marcus, all right? Marcus says he's a photographer from Long Beach, California, and he wants to know, he said, you say in your podcast all the time that you can find your exact customers online. Yes, that is what I say, because that is what I do. That's what I teach, and that's what these tools are all about. And that's the power of the internet. When you harness this power, that's the game changer, all right? It's not about search results. Don't even play in that arena. Don't spend time with SEO. Don't spend time with trying to rank on Google. None of it matters. What matters is you knowing how to use these tools to get in front of your people before they're even thinking about you, okay? So Marcus wants to know, so how do we exactly do that? How do we know that we can really find our customers online? And he says, by the way, I'm a photographer. I photograph old historic trains and railway stations as just one of my passions. Okay, all right, Marcus. So I was just going over it here. I think the best thing to do now is, let me do a screen share. Okay, so bear with me a second. I'm gonna share my screen, and I'm gonna show you Let's see. So let me just get rid of a couple of things here. I'm going to show you how we target. Okay, so speaking of, let me just bounce around a little bit. You know, I do this all the time. I apologize. But we were talking about, Shannon wanted to know if you needed to be on these other platforms. And so what I want you to see here, these are just a couple of artist websites. Okay, these are not on any given platform. These are artists with their own websites. All right, so being able to make an artist website is absolute piece of cake in this day and age. Okay, you can go on Wix, you can go on Shopify, you can go on, there's another one I like, Squarespace. Okay, and all of these places are going to, you can sell right from your Facebook page. This is an example of just Facebook page stores. Okay, very easy to do. I teach my students how to set these up. Okay, you can go, here's another example. You can have very artistic looking Facebook pages, okay, without having to deal with, you know, anything else. There's all kinds of templates available. So being on someone else's platform and paying exorbitant fees to be on a platform is just not something you need to do. All right, let me see if I can get rid of this little taskbar up here. Let's see, hide that. Well, actually I hid the wrong thing here. Let's take that and let's hide the controls. Okay, there we go. Excellent. Okay, now what I want to show you is some targeting. Okay, let's talk about targeting for a minute. Here is some targeting set up in anticipation of this call today, this podcast. I keep calling it a call because I do so many coaching calls with my students and I do the podcast. So let's just talk about a painter. Okay, I'm taking Shannon and I'm assuming a couple of things about Shannon. I'm assuming that she is a commission painter, okay, that she paints commissions and that she does pet portraits. All right, so, and I'm assuming she paints in the style of Van Gogh. So here's just using one tool, okay? This is in the back end of Facebook. This is a tool inside of Ads Manager that I teach you how to do, teach you how to use. So this tool is going to allow me to target at an insane level. Okay, so what I've done so far is I'm in the United States. I'm choosing both men and women between the ages of 18 and up. Okay, you could narrow that down more if you want, but for this exercise, I'm going to leave it here. Let me just move this a little bit here. First thing I started with, Van Gogh. Now, we must also match. Okay, this is where layered targeting comes in. Also match, all right? So I want fans of Van Gogh, but I also want fans. We're going to do a breed of dog. We're going to kind of hone in on retriever, Labrador retriever, okay, and anything that's in that category that's close enough that we're going to be in front of the right person, right? So we're going to show this person a painting that we've done of Labrador retrievers, okay? So must also match. What else do we need to know about these people? Okay, we need to know that they are art collectors. Okay, so what are we going to use to qualify them? We're going to use Christie's Art Auction House. We're going to use Sotheby's Art Auction House, Bonham's Art Auction House, art museums, and art auction as our qualifiers. All right, so we have fans of Van Gogh. We have fans of the Labs. We have fans of Christie's, Sotheby's, Bonham's, art auction houses, okay? Next thing we want to make sure that we have people that spend money. Okay, that they have a habit. And we've already sort of qualified that by these categories here, but we want to over-qualify these people so we absolutely know we're in front of the right people. So now we have engaged shoppers and online shopping. Okay, they have to qualify for that category in order for us to be putting our work in front of them. Okay, and now we want to narrow further by excluding. Okay, so we're going to, let me turn on this, let me turn something on here to help us out. Okay, so we want to exclude, what do we want to exclude? We want to exclude any artist, right? We don't want to waste our money putting our work in front of other artists. We want to make sure we're targeting people who are consumers, our customers, shoppers. Okay, that's what we're looking to do, is target and get in front of people who are going to purchase our work. So this audience size is 1 million people in the United States. Okay, so 1 million people qualify for this set of criteria that we set up here. Okay, so this is layered targeting. Layered targeting is when they must qualify for each category. And then in layered targeting, I always have an exclusion category, almost always, okay? This is going to get me in front of 1 million people with my work. So Shannon, you can take your recent commission job of a Labrador Retriever. You can put it in front of these people, okay? I teach you how to do that. In the next, on the next podcast, what I'm going to do is talk about the type of work I would put in front of these people, the type of image, the type of words I would use to create a post. I'm going to tell you exactly what I would use to go in front of these people so that you bring these people into your world. Okay, so that's what it's all about. It's about targeting amazingly well. And then the second part of this is putting the right thing in front of these people. Okay, so you have a million people in this audience. You're going to reach 3,000 to 9,000 a day. Now, what's going to determine whether you're in front of 3,000 people or 9,000 people? The answer to that question is the quality of what you put in front of them. All right, what happens is the algorithms that run these platforms will reward engagement with you can call it an ad, you can call it a post, call it whatever you want. It's your creative that you put out there. When you put it out there and people start interacting with it, the more people interact with it, the more the algorithm loves it, okay? I teach you how to get people to interact with what you put out there, which means you will hit these 9,000 numbers, okay? So you'll be in front of 9,000 people every single day, okay? So think about that. All right, so now let me show you an example for Marcus. All right, now Marcus told us that he's a photographer. Okay, so what we did for Marcus, same thing, United States, men and women, 18 and older, okay? We started with this category. All right, so think about it. Marcus is a photographer, okay? He is probably, I'm gonna assume that he's selling high-end work. I always layer my categories. I'm always targeting high-end people. I have artists enrolled in my program who are selling $15,000, $18,000, $30,000, $45,000 originals, okay? Selling art online, if you Google that and check into that, you'll find that art sales online are doing nothing but increasing, have done nothing but increase over the last 10 years. Okay, so selling expensive art online is a thing. People pay for the shipping. People do not mind buying things online that are expensive. People are buying cars online. People are buying everything online. So do not be one of these artists who think you cannot sell high-end art online, because I watch artists do it every single day, okay? So having said all that, the reason I said that was to let you know that I always target high-end categories so that I know I'm in front of people that are willing to spend a lot of money, okay? So we're going to start with this category, fine art photography, outdoor photography, because Marcus told us he's photographing trains, okay, and train stations. Travel photography fits into the same category, okay? Next thing, they must also match, all right, everything about trains, train stations, okay? Makes sense, right? Luxury trains. Just think about who's in that category. Remember I told you 1,000, 1,200, 1,500 data points are collected on all the humans are using the internet. These data points tell the algorithm, they tell the artificial intelligence everything about you. And they know if you're interested in luxury train trips or luxury trains in general. Okay, they must also qualify for what category? We want to make sure they collect art, all right? So we're going to make sure they qualify for these interests. Art auction, Art Basel, all right? Art collecting, Christie's, collection of artwork. All these categories tell me that I have art collectors in this audience. Next, I want to narrow further by excluding. Who do I want to exclude? I want to exclude photographers. Okay, so it's very important that you exclude anyone that you think is in your profession, because you don't want to waste your time putting your work in front of people who are doing the same thing you're doing. Remember I talked about not wanting to be on those platforms for the same reason? You don't want to put your work in front of these people, okay? So you want to save your money. Let me show you what happens to this audience size if I forgot to exclude photographers, okay? So I'm going to show you. Audience size right now is 480,000 people, okay? I'm just going to cancel this request to exclude photographers, and then we're going to look at the audience size. 2,200,000 people. Okay, so there's 2,200,000 people in that audience until I exclude photographers. So there's a lot of photographers out there. Okay, so we're going to want to exclude. We're going to want to exclude photographers, and let's just do it right here. You could do it for, you could even pick the job titles, right? So there's a lot of ways to do this. I chose this one just as a blanket, okay? And I teach in my course how to do all of this targeting, right? This is amazing. Do you see what we're doing here? Is we're getting Marcus's work in front of 480,000 people, 9,000 people a day, okay, who qualify for these very specific interests. Now, this is how you do online marketing, and this is how you sell your work. Well, we're coming to the end of this podcast. I don't want to use all your time today, but I'm glad you were with me today. I want you to understand a couple of things. I teach every week a free masterclass where I go in depth teaching you more strategies to succeed online, to have that sustainable, successful online business that we all want. All right. I've been teaching this for a couple of years. I'm an expert at this, and I want to share my teaching with you. Somewhere on this page is a link to register for my free masterclass. All right. Click that link. It's either in the show notes below, or there's a link on the page. There's an obvious link. Spend a minute to find that link, okay? Click that link, register for my next free masterclass, all right? There's a masterclass coming up. I teach all week. Every day I teach a class. I want to show you more of what I'm showing you today on this podcast, all right? I want you to have sustainable online success. I want you to join us, all right? We're succeeding online. You can be like those artists who are succeeding online. There's all kinds of things to learn. I love teaching artists how to have online success. I love teaching specialty small business owners how to have online success. I have lots of students all across the board. I have a gentleman in my course who is actually a magnetic compass adjuster. Okay, he adjusts magnetic compasses on ocean-going vessels, right? It's absolutely amazing the different niches that are represented in my program. So I like to teach artists, specialty small business owners, how to succeed online. Click the link, register for the next free masterclass, right? It's free. I'm going to teach you some really important things for having online success. And remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel, all right? This podcast is going out every week. I teach you more and more about having online success. It goes out around the world. I'm focused on helping you have a sustainable, successful online business. All right. I'll see you on the next podcast. Peace, my friend.